Alrighty, you only need to get 3 things right in life to be happy, content, and a healthy human being. And I've broken this down in part before on another video, but I think a lot of this is worth repeating because most people get this wrong. Alrighty, so let's look at those 3 things, shall we? The 3 things you need to get right are the following. Number 1, the relationship with your job. Number 2, the relationship with significant others. And number 3, the relationship with yourself. But let's break all of those down. So first off, your job. And what I mean by the relationship with your job here is quite key. So for many years I've been a recruitment consultant, so I've seen this quite a lot. Quite often people will jump, especially in the West, from one job to the other. It seems nowadays it's the 2-year stint, and you reach 2 years and you think, oh crikey, I really need to either move up the ladder or I need to find a new employer. And quite often maybe that's the right thing to do, you know, either because you dislike the way your boss is doing things, maybe the company is going in the wrong direction for you. There's a whole host of things, but it's really worth exploring those things, really just to test, you know, are they absolutely definitive reasons for you to leave your job? Because quite often, in my opinion, people switch from one job to the other because they haven't got the relationship either with themselves or their understanding of their relationship with their job right. Because quite often that job is the perfect job for them. You know, it provides a good income. They're surrounded by people that they enjoy working with, and the job itself, whilst they might well have gotten used to it, is something that they can do, and they're fairly comfortable doing it. And so I do think that's the first thing to look at, really. Get that bit right. But don't just think, I need to change my job, I need to change my environment, because that's not always the answer. Quite often, you just need to start working on yourself, what's up here. And by that, I mean you start looking at methods to calm the mind, activities to keep you interested outside of work, etc., etc. So once you've got that bit right, that's brilliant. And by the way, as an aside, of these 3 things, if one of those is wrong or isn't quite right, it affects the rest. So for example, if you're not happy in your job and you figured out that it is the job that's wrong and that you need to change, when you're unhappy in that job and you're either highly stressed or anxious, then of course it filters into those 2 other areas of your life. Those closest to you start to notice, and that has an impact. And of course it has an impact on your own life and how you see yourself. Sorry, my self-made stool was coming apart there below me. So number 2, your relationship with others. And I was reminded of this yesterday, actually, that again, let's look at our ancestors in community living. They were surrounded by friends and family on a day-to-day basis, and I'm sure at times those friends or family did their head in. You know, maybe their relationship with those wasn't always quite good enough, but when the proverbial poo hits the fan, that's where your friends and family really come into their own. And it's those times when you realize that in your modern way of living, where you closet yourself with the mask that you want to portray to the world, or you are surrounded by bricks and mortar that you use as a shield and you don't really say hello to your neighbor, it's in those times of real poo hitting the fan moments that you suddenly realize, I really need my friends and family. So get that bit right. And it's really easy to do that. You know, it's not always easy to develop a really good relationship with everybody that you've got around you. It's not always possible with family members. And in fact, I mean, I've got one person very closest to me that I really do need to sort that relationship out. But so long as the majority are good friends and family that you know you can turn to in times of poo, then you're going to be okay. The rest you can sort out. Now, lastly, the relationship with yourself. Now, this is really interesting, isn't it? Because this can be broken down into many parts. And first of all, I think we need to look at here things like, and I mean people in the West, things like status anxiety, because this is just getting worse and worse, and it's proliferated by these kind of platforms, YouTube, Instagram in particular. You know, the message and image of these people having a certain type of life that other people covet. And quite often, those lives are littered with images of material things that make people believe that, number one, they're things that they need or would like, and that two, they're things that would make them happy. Because I don't need to tell you this, you know, but to get this out of your system is really hard, but you know that things do not make you happy. You know, it is not the fast car, the big house that makes you happy. It's the really, really important, simple things in life that create a sense of contentment and happiness. So that status anxiety that many of us have, I know is really difficult to get rid of. You know, it took me ages to work on my mind and my understanding of what's important in life, especially when you're surrounded by it in the West. Because most people around you will have that kind of status, material-led way of looking at the world. They will understandably, I think, you know, justify to themselves that they really do need that next new car. They really do need that big house because, crikey, the two children that they've got are running riot in the house that they've got. We need the extra space. You know, it's very easy these days to justify these moves and to spend more money on these things. And it's easy because everybody's having that conversation. Everybody's having the same conversation about the needs and wants that they truly and genuinely believe will make their lives different. So I don't think any blame should be put on us humans for thinking that, because it's an environmental thing. You know, we're surrounded by that kind of conversation. We live and breathe it. The messages in the media are all to do with status and material wealth. So I can understand why people would think that way. But I would urge you, if you can start working on this part of yourself, I guarantee the more content, the more happy you will be. As I said, it took me ages, and I'm still working on myself, you know. But I tell you what really helps actually is the more you remove yourself from this world of news, in particular, the media, advertising, the easier that becomes. But you have to set your own path. You have to follow your own path because everybody else is going to be going the opposite way. So figure that out. That is that last bit there, the relationship with yourself, which in part is to do with status, anxiety, but I also think in part to do with the way you look at yourself in the mirror. You know, you've got to be happy with who you are. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter whether you look strong or fit or have the perfect body or whatever. It's just you figuring out how to be happy with who you are. And I think, you know, the core to that, or the key rather, is, again, working on your mind, using various techniques, breathwork techniques, meditation, mindfulness. Build those into your life, the happier you will be in yourself and the happier you will be about who you are and where your life is going. And you know what, the three things, that's the first thing you should do. Because if your job's not right, if your relationship with your friends or family isn't right, you've got to work on yourself first. So get that bit right first. Work on yourself, meditation, mindfulness, breathwork techniques. I'll drop a link below again for the various breathwork stuff that I now do that keeps me in the right place. Do check out my other videos, and you know, I've done stuff on mindfulness, meditation, etc., etc. I'm going to do more, so keep an eye out for them, because these will help you, and I'll guide you, in fact, through some new techniques, which I urge you to give them a go. Winston's rolling in something. Let's hope it's not fox poo. Anyway, I hope that helps. 3 things. That's all you got to get right. The relationship with yourself, the relationship with your friends and family, the relationship with your job. Again, it doesn't have to be a new job. Evolution of Dave signing off. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. TTFN.